Good evening and welcome to race number 8 in season 3 of FR Racing's Indy Racing World Series, presented by Rogue Energy. We are looking forward to an exciting race here tonight at Hawkeye 150 Iowa Speedway. And we got about 2 minutes left in the practice as we see some of the drivers out there practicing. Let's take a look at the racetrack information before we get started with our race tonight. So Iowa Speedway, it's located in Newton, Iowa, and opened in 2006 with a track length of 0.875 miles. The banking for the turns is a progressive 12 to 14 degrees with a 10-degree banking in the front stretch and a 4-degree banking on the back stretch. Some notable things are that the races were held here between 2007 and 2020, and from 2022 to the present. It's also known as the fastest short track on the planet. So let's see if we can get some good racing in tonight. It'll be a fun race from what I heard on the driver's chat tonight. On that note, let's go ahead and take a look at our standings and see some shakeups. As we see Joshua Chinsky taking the lead away from Eric Richardson after the last race. We see Ian Miller right behind Richardson there with 3 points separating the top second and third place, and then 10 points from Ian Miller to Derek Booker. There's a lot of close races tonight in the point standings. Looks like Joe Hutchings and Eric Mattingly are very close there with the same amount of points. And Brian McKinney right behind with 2 points behind. So let's hope that everyone has a good and fun race tonight and see if they can move themselves up on the standings leaderboard. So this is race number 8. We are at Iowa. There's 148 laps tonight. Next week we'll be at Texas, and then we will have a week off and then go into Las Vegas for our finale, and it'll be in the evening, so please look forward to that. I think it'll be a fun race. It's all going to be down to these final 3 races, especially since with the standings, Richardson is only in second place, and he excels at circles and not road courses. Let's give a quick shout out to our Wednesday Night Dash crew. So they're currently on season 9 of the trucks schedule. Tomorrow they'll be at Daytona International Speedway, and it will be at night. So please tune in on that one. It is going to be the FR Racing's Garage Talk 100. And it will be a super speedway, so it'll be fun and hopefully not chaotic. It looks like practice just ended and they will be qualifying. And on that note, let's take a look at some of the things to look out for tonight's race. So at the Hawkeye 150, there we have a couple of things as always what to watch out for. There's 148 laps, and the fuel window is between laps 74 and 75. So we're looking at 1 to 2 stops per driver. For qualifying, which we are currently in, there will be 2 laps. There will be cautions, there will be lucky dogs, and there will be 1 green flag, 1 white flag, and 1 checkered flag. The previous winner at this course is Eric Richardson, who won in last season. Hope everyone's having a good night so far. And hoping that we will have a good race on to broadcast tonight. On that note, let's go take a look at some of the drivers as they go into qualifying. As we take a look we'll open up the leaderboard. We'll be on board with Fredericks. Oh no, we're with Mattingly right now. And looks like he had a pretty good lap, it looks like, so far. Let's go ahead and see if Chinsky's still running, and it looks like he's stopping as well. Let's see if I can get someone who's currently running. Ouellette looks like he's running right now. No, he's not. There we go. We have our previous race winner here, Richardson, as he runs his first lap, it looks like. And he's going for a second lap. Last week after the race, there were a couple drivers testing out driving here at Iowa, and they let me know some interesting information regarding this course, and something that's very unique to this course. And that is at the top of turn 1, which is where Eric Richardson is at right now, the road is very bumpy. It is, and they showed me from the driver's perspective and how bumpy it is, and it's not very smooth. It is very bumpy. It's pretty. I don't know what the best way to describe it is. It's like your typical pothole road, but not like, imagine going 200 miles an hour over it and hitting like a light ripple in the road. That's pretty much what it is. It's pretty crazy, the fact that they have that. And then another thing about this course, with how much the progressive banking is, from the things to look out for as I pull that up, it is really hard to figure out the progressive banking and how to just get a smooth line out of it. So a lot of the drivers are trying to figure that out tonight. So we'll keep an eye out and see what the different driving lines are for tonight's race. I know because of that bump in turn 1, the high line's a little bit tougher to drive. But at the same time, we may get to see some drivers taking a gamble and trying to take the high line in tonight's race. Probably not in turn 1. Maybe in turn 2 and turns 2, 3, and 4. But if they're not going to take the high line in turn 1, they're definitely not going to go high in turn 2. But if they're going for an overtake, we might get to go into a cockpit view and get to see the drivers go over. I want to call it the speed bumps. I don't think that's a proper name for them, but we'll call them the speed bumps just for the sake of making it easier for tonight's broadcast. Again, I want to say thank you very much for joining us in tonight's broadcast, and we hope that you enjoy the race tonight. A quick shout out to our sponsor. This race is presented by Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy focuses on 4 product lines: Hydration, Energy, Shake, and Extreme, which is their pre-workout line. They are a gaming company at heart and offer high-quality products as an alternative to traditional sugary energy drinks. Check out their product line, and don't forget to use our promo code FRRacingOnline, all one word. Save 10% using our promo code. And it looks like qualification is done. And we have our drivers and what order they're going in. And it looks like it's gone. So one moment as it will load back in. But it looks like we have over here on my other screen, we have Chinsky leading us off in pole, with Richardson in second. Third place is Franklin. Fourth place is Fredericks. Fifth place is Booker. 6th place is Zito. 7th place is Mattingly. 8th place is Johnston. 9th place is Miller. 10th place is Fluck. 11th place is Ouellette. 12th place is McKinney. And that rounds off our leaderboard for tonight. And while we wait for all the drivers to pop into the race and get ready for the race, let's bring in. We'll bring in Mark Ouellette tonight, since we haven't been able to see him too much in the broadcast. So let's pull him in. Hey, Mark, this is the broadcast booth. Do you have a copy?
For me?
Yes.
Yes. Hi.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right.
How are you feeling about tonight's race? Ready to have some fun?
Yeah, it'll be an interesting race for sure.
What are uh what are your plans for tonight's race? Do you have any strategy going into it?
No, not really. Just learning the track. Just trying to stay out of trouble. That's always my go-to thing.
Sounds like a plan. Well, I hope you have fun tonight, and good luck to you and your race tonight.
Thank you.
And that was Mark Roulette in the number 80 car. He's currently sitting in 11th place. It's nice to change up the drivers a little bit. So, figured we'd give him a call, and have him join us in the broadcast. One thing to note that I forgot to mention as we are about to go green flag, Dalton Fredericks, who is currently in the number 25 car, is subbing in for Joe Hutchings because he has some technical difficulties with his setup. So we do have a guest driver subbing in for one of our main drivers. So give him some love, give him some shout outs, and let's see how he does compared to the rest of the field. Hoping for a fun race tonight, and hoping to have a good broadcast. As much as I enjoyed the road course last week, I do enjoy the circuits a little better. The circles, um, it's just easier to broadcast, and there's just not a lot of moving parts, or there's still a lot of moving parts, but not as much compared to a road course, especially when I don't have a working track map, unfortunately. I will leave the pit lane map on. That way we can see when drivers pit and when drivers stay out. And looks like Chinsky is slowing down as we get ready to go green flag as the pace car goes in. And looks like green flag is out, and Chinsky gets a great jump. Great jump off of the start. And here we go. They all take the middle line, it looks like. Oh, looks like we're going to have a good race tonight. Just some hard racing all the way around. It'll be it's nice to be back in a circle track. Although the camera angles, there's not much there, so hopefully I do have an AI director controlling the camera angles. So I'm hoping that we're not too much on the inside because I don't want to give anyone any motion sickness. Oh, and that looks like who is that? And that was not Franklin. That is that Fredericks? Yep, Fredericks taps the wall and goes from second to fourth. And looks like we get to ride inside of Fredericks' car. He is subbing in for Joe Hutchings. So he will be a wild card for tonight's race, which, we love wild cards. We love something unexpected. It looks like the top four are going in it for the lead. About 0.2 of a second separating all four of them. Actually, I think that might be one of our biggest gaps. Nope, I lied. Looks like McKinney at the end is about 2.5 seconds behind with Roulette. So we'll keep an eye out for all the drivers. Looks like we see, looks like Johnson had he had an incident, and he is on the inside of turns 1. So slight incident, not enough to warrant a caution flag. And looks like we have a lead change, and Richardson is in the lead. looks like Mattingly is in the pits. I think he may have also had a slight incident, as we see in our pit maps right there on the top right. But as of right now, ooh, look at all that dust getting kicked up. And it looks like a lot of the drivers are taking the high line, or some of the drivers are taking the high line. So we're going to do a blip view, and we can maybe get a better look at what the top 3, or second, third, and fourth place are driving. Looks like mid to high. Looks like Franklin avoided the speed bumps, but Fredericks and Chinsky stayed in it for the speed bumps. And now we see Johnston, who spun out earlier, go into the pits, probably for some repairs, potentially. So you see the number 25 car, Fredericks, right on the back of Franklin. We have Richardson, who's in the lead, about 7/10 of a second ahead of Franklin. About the same gap between Chinsky, who's part of this lead pack, and Booker, who's looks like he's on his own. And so is Zito, who's behind him, and Miller is also behind him. Also, I think I forgot to mention this, but we do have something new on this broadcast. I don't know if you all have noticed, but we have a ticker now at the bottom of the broadcast. So it's kind of cool, something new, something new to play around with. So go ahead, take a look at that. You know, if you're interested in adding something or putting some sponsorship comments, you know, feel free to reach out to us. I think the email will pop up soon. Add something kind of cool that we have that we actually kind of created recently. So it'll be it'll be cool. It automatically updates. So, you know, for the broadcast, we just have to load it in as a link or something like that. I'm not too sure. It's all, you know, DJ does a great job at organizing all this stuff. DJ Fluck, who's currently in 8th place in this race tonight. He does an amazing job organizing this stuff, and he was able to create a ticker so that we can have it running at the bottom of our screens, so you guys can take a look at some of the other shows we have here on Stadium Scene TV. On that note, looks like Fredericks is taking 2nd place. And I'm guessing with a competition between Fredericks and Franklin, Richardson was able to run away a little bit more and take a bigger gap. Looks like Fredericks, Franklin, and Chinsky are all kind of grouped in one pack, although there is 0.3 of a second between the drivers. And Booker also caught up to this pack. So maybe the race between Fredericks and Franklin has allowed Booker to catch up to them. As we're on board with Franklin, it's about 0.3 of a second behind Fredericks. So I do know that the tire wear was a pretty big deal in the practice races, practice run last week, right after the race last week at Atlanta, which is a fun road course. Chinsky excels at it and did really well. Miller followed second behind him for that race. But after that, it was, I believe it was Tyler Vickery was practicing in Iowa, and he's the one who told me about maybe it was Ian. It was one of the two. They were explaining to me about the race tonight, or racing at Iowa, and how different it is, and how there's the speed bumps at the beginning of turn 1, and how the progressive banking is just really hard to figure out. I know before the race, I was talking with the other drivers during the practice session, and they were explaining how the progressive turning, it makes it hard to know where to let off and when to start accelerating again, which is a fine science to try to figure out. Um, so now we're getting to see the drivers kind of figuring it out, trying to figure it out as they race all 148 laps. And it changes with obviously the tire wear and how much rubber is actually on the track versus having enough traction to floor it through the turns. Yeah, I know right before we hopped online and to start this broadcast, Ian Miller was practicing, and he actually had a really nice save on between turns 3 and 4, the tail end of the track. Yeah, he had a pretty nice save, but he was explaining how it just he didn't know where to let off and when to step on it. So it was interesting to see that, and it's always good to hear the drivers' thoughts and perspectives of these races. It's always great insight that I can bring to everyone who's watching this broadcast tonight, to you all. And I enjoy doing that. I enjoy trying to bring a different insight and bring a different input. I know they were talking about shifting weights around from the front to the back, and you could see how much control would shift around because of the weights being in the front or the back around the turns. I think at the end they were shifting the weight to the back, to the rear tires, instead of to the front, which was interesting, but I guess more power to the ground with the weight in the back. But who knows? That was last week. This is this week. This is tonight's race, and maybe it's different. Maybe they found out the perfect balance between the two, between putting too much weight in the back or too much weight in the front. As we're keeping an eye out on this race between 3rd and 4th place. It looks like there's a pretty good race for 6th place. So let's hop on board with DJ Fluck, as he's very close behind Ian Miller in the number 48 car. And now we're on board with McKinney, who's even closer, as he tries to take the inside line to go past Zito. Looks like Mattingly is trying to get around him, and looks like he successfully does, to try to unlap himself as he is 2 laps down. And it looks like Mattingly is also going to pass Zito to try to maybe potentially get back onto the lead lap with everyone else. But that'll be something to keep an eye out for. With the cautions, there are lucky dogs, so they will be able to unlap themselves. As we see McKinney try to take the inside line to get around, and unsuccessfully does so. Still, and it looks like Richardson, the lead car of Richardson, is right behind. Let's see if they're going to let him through. I know they are defending to stay on the lead lap, but as looks like Zito closed the opening between the 2 cars, and Richardson takes the inside line. And let's see if McKinney follows close behind. No, it does not look like it. And Zito and McKinney will now be lapped cars as Richardson passes them. And it looks like Fredericks is going to get caught behind Zito as he tries to chase after Richardson, and that causes at least a quarter second, if not almost half a second, of a gap to build between Fredericks and Richardson, which has allowed Franklin, who's currently lapping these cars, McKinney and Zito, to catch up to Fredericks and is now just 0.6 of a second behind. And we're gonna... Oh, it looks like there's another car. Chinsky. He couldn't quite get around the drivers, it looks like, the lap traffic, and there he goes between the two. Not quite threading the needle, but threading the needle, as McKinney took advantage and gets in front of Zito. We're gonna hop on board with who would be our next closest driver in competition. Let's go join Franklin and see how far apart he is from Fredericks. About 0.7 of a second. It's between the fight for second and the fight for seventh. Looks like we're jumping into Roulette's side, and looks like he might be passing Zito for 9th place. I wonder if Zito tapped the wall. Oh, he's blinking, and he lost a wing. I'm not sure. Hey, it looks like he's blinking, so we'll keep an eye out for that. There is a I don't know what it's called, but there is a rule in this league about the blinking situation. So if it gets too bad, then they will unfortunately get booted from the race, and they will be forced to retire. But let's hope that we do not have that incident that happened tonight. That does take away from the race experience, unfortunately. And it looks like Zito is... McKinney went onto the inside line. I'm not sure what happened. I wonder if he got stuck on the wall and was forced to let off. And with that, allow Zito and Ouellette to take 8th and 9th place, respectively. And McKinney now sits in 10th place. All three drivers are a lap down. And we're going to go hop on board with Fluck, as we see a good competition between Fluck, Booker, and Miller. Miller just overtook Booker, and Fluck has also overtaken Booker. As we see the lead car of Richardson catching right up to this pack. Just keep an eye out on this and see if Richardson is able to get around them. It looks like Booker let Richardson through relatively easily. We'll see if Fluck and Miller will do the same or not. As Richardson tries to pass these two drivers, let's see if Fluck takes right behind Richardson to try to get around Miller. As Richardson takes the outside line to go around Fluck. And let's see what he does for Miller. We'll be keeping an eye out on Fluck for now. And I think Richardson is going to take the inside line. Oh, and it looks like Fredericks may have wiped out. Let's jump over there real quickly. Oh, yeah. Why is there not a caution flag coming out? There he is. Caution flag is out. We are on... Ooh, there goes my cat. We are on lap number... Where is it? We have 93 laps remaining. As Fredericks had a pretty big wipeout, it looks like. And there goes the pace car. And we'll see who goes into the pits. It is our first caution flag since 2 weeks ago when we had a... I wonder if Booker was involved in that. Well, let's go see if we can do a replay real quickly. Let's see here. Alrighty. Oh, I went a little too far. Let's see. How do I go backwards? Let's try that again. There we go. Let's see. So we're keeping an eye on Booker right here. Is this the right one? Yeah, there you go. As he runs into the back. Looks like Fredericks ran into the back of Booker. And unfortunately got flipped upside down. And that is a thing we have with traffic. It's trying to get around them, and they let off to try to let you through, and they unfortunately you run into the back of them. It is part of racing, as we're going to go back to the current view. Try to get you right back into the race. As we're back, looks like everyone took their pits. With the caution happening around laps 56. Write that down. So because all the drivers took their caution or took fuel and tires, remember the things to look out for as I pull that up again. Fuel windows between laps 74 and 75, so most of these drivers will have to pit again at least one more time. If I'm doing my math correctly here. Let's get my calculator out. So let's say they do save their fuel. At 75 laps, they're looking at... Oh, shoot. I messed up here. 75 plus 56, 131 laps. And that will probably... So we'll probably see another big pit stop around laps probably 131 to 137. I'm going to leave a pretty big window there if we run smoothly throughout the rest of the race. And that's only because they can change their fuel mixture throughout the race. So that way they can pace themselves and make sure now they can run efficiently around the course, and they can make more use of their fuel tanks. So we'll keep an eye out on Richardson and see if he's going to be fuel saving or if he's going to take a gamble on going rich on full 100% between the fuel and air mix and run the whole time like as is. So lap 56 was our first caution. As we have a couple more laps for the caution flag. Unless I'm going to get surprised and green flag comes out, but I don't think so as we pass the Geico restart zone. Fredericks, who was in second place and was unfortunately part of the incident tonight, is now sitting in 11th place and is 3 laps down. I'm not sure. He probably had a penalty for towing because there was no way he was on his back there. He couldn't drive in, tried to limp it back to the pits. So that's a bummer. We do have one quick repair for each driver, so I'm sure he took full advantage of the quick repair, but is unfortunately in 11th place and 3 laps down. But with all these races and how they go, it can be anyone's race as the pace car goes in, and Richardson will start us off tonight. Not tonight, but after this caution, and gets a great jump. Chinsky also a little delayed, but gets a good jump. And Franklin also got a pretty good jump. And everyone else follows behind. Now, the restarts are always chaotic. You just never know how it's going to go because everyone's got fresh tires, got more fuel, a little more weight to the car. And they're just itching to drive and to race. Richardson's gap from second and third place has definitely shrunken from 3 seconds to 0.2 seconds. So big drop there. A good race for the lead and good race for 5th place right now. Again, I would like to thank everyone for joining our broadcast tonight. hope that you are having a great time and enjoying tonight's race. And I just realized that I left the things to watch out for in the whole race so far. So my apologies on that. I did not see that. I think later on we'll jump into one of the top 3 cars to view, view the course and see how everyone's driving it. But a great way to see the driving lines is actually through our blimp view. So we're gonna switch to the blimp view. Looks like that's the front stretch right there. There's the start-finish line. As we see McKinney taking the high line and Mattingly taking the inside line. Ooh, we saw a little bit of spin out and a little bit of contact there between the two drivers. It looks like they were able to keep going unscathed. McKinney did have to let off a little bit. Let's go focus on Chinsky's car right here, and we can compare the driving lines of all the top 3 drivers right now. As we see Richardson taking the midline, Chinsky taking a little bit of a higher line with Franklin, but Franklin may be taking a higher line to try to stay in the slipstream of Chinsky. There's a pretty good competition between the top 2 drivers of Richardson and Chinsky as we take a look at the standings images real quickly. About a 40-point gap, 38 points to be exact, between Chinsky and Richardson. And Miller currently in 4th place, about 4 seconds behind Franklin. And he is currently sitting in 3rd place. So we may be able to see a shake-up in tonight's race. Hopefully we get to see Fredericks back in the top, in the lead pack soon. He is still 3 laps down. He will have to unlap himself. Ooh, and we hear some contact somewhere. I'm not sure where that was. It sounded like someone scraped the wall. But looks like a pretty close race for the top 3 currently, which is what we do enjoy seeing. Oh, and I think Fluck may have wiped out, as we saw some clouds and some smoke. And he was on the inside part, the apron, I think is what it's called, of the course. And I think he'll be trying to limp it back to the pits or try to get back up to speed and rejoin the race. He is 2 laps down currently. If he does go into the pits, he will be 3 laps down. And if he has any, yep, there he goes into the pits, so he will be 3 laps down and maybe 4 laps down by the time he leaves the pits. Alrighty, changing it back to the AI race director. So we did get to see some of the driving lines of the top 3 drivers. I would like to see if I could get into the cockpit of one of these drivers. We'll go inside Franklin's car. See if he'll go over the speed bumps for us. Let's see, he's taking the high line. Nope, not quite. So the speed bumps are further to the right there. Further on this outside line. I guess lane 4 would be the best way to call it. It looks like Richardson took it on that lap. So we'll hop on board Chinsky and see if he follows Richardson's driving line. See if we can get to watch one of these drivers take it over the speed bumps. Not quite. Okay. I don't think they're going quite high enough for it. We'll give it another lap with on board Chinsky and see if we can get them to if they go on the speed bumps or not. Oh yeah, he did a little bit. It's kind of hard to tell. You could hear a little bit of it from the road. There you go. You heard the big thud there. That was the speed bump right there, at the high side of turn one at Iowa. And it looks like Chinsky is not downshifting. I wonder if that's the case with all the drivers. Let's go. I'm gonna go back on board with Franklin since he's super close. Let's see if he shifts up and down. Looks like he's in sixth gear and just stays in sixth gear. It looks like, and it's been working for him. So, and for Chinsky, he stays on the higher side of fifth gear and almost maxes out his tachometer. And let's go hop on board Richardson and see what he does. So we'll do 2 laps with Richardson. It looks like he also stays in 6th gear, rounds turn 1 and 2, avoids the speed bumps. And stays in 6 for turns 3 and 4 as well. But he does avoid the speed bumps. Chinsky does hit the speed bumps, which is interesting, which, for us, it's good because I get to show you what the speed bumps that I'm talking about. So we'll pretty happy about that. In fact, that I was able to show what the speed bumps are. As we'll change it over to the outside view as we are still on board with, or looking at Chinsky. Who has a different strategy when it comes to the gearing of tonight's race, staying in 5th gear, while Franklin and Richardson are in 6th gear. Looks like no downshifting for them. I believe Miller was downshifting in last week's practice run. Miller or Tyler Lugo Vickery. I do not remember who it was. I'm sorry if you're watching the stream. That I don't remember who it was. As Franklin hits the wall, and looks like he did not lose much speed. Good. We'd like to see a close competition. He is about half a second behind now, but that's okay. It's hopefully doesn't change the aerodynamics of his car. As we're on board with Mark Ouellette, who's in 7th place. And looks like he has Mattingly right in front of him. And now we're on board with McKinney, who's trying to go around Booker, who is 2 laps down. And McKinney successfully takes the inside line and side by side into turns 3 and 4. And is able to get around Booker. As Booker taps the wall and hopefully had to let off to make sure he's able to get back into his driving line. As we see, we almost saw some contact there between Richardson and Mattingly. That was real close. Bet Richardson was a little scared there. That looked a lot more closer than very close for comfort. A little too close. So Chinsky was able to get around. Let's watch Franklin as he tries to go around this lap traffic of Mattingly and Ouellette. And Franklin was able to get around them no problem. Although the lap traffic did cause Chinsky to have a bigger gap between all the drivers. It looks like we're going to see Ouellette try to take advantage and overtake Mattingly. Although Mattingly is 4 laps down and Ouellette is 2 laps down. So far so good tonight by a lot of these drivers. Remember, we're looking around laps 131 and 137 for another pit stop for most of the drivers who have not pitted yet tonight, or who have pitted once during the caution on lap 56. We did see DJ Fluck go into the pits since he was involved in a slight spin out. So he might be the only one out while everyone else pits for their second lap, or their second pit stop. Looks like Goulet is slowly catching up to McKinney. And we're going to hop on board with Franklin as he's going through some more lap traffic. Booker is able to get around. Oh, as Booker taps the wall again. Ouch. Yeah, the progressive banking must be a little hard to try to navigate. I think we see Booker going into the pits right there. Who's that? Number 5 car, Booker? Yes, there it is. Booker is going into the pits. And it looks like the number 23 car of Mattingly is also going into the pits. I wonder if they had any contact between the two drivers. As we see Fredericks cruising around, trying to unlap himself. Who passes the Roulette, who's 2 laps down, and Fredericks is 3 laps down. It was a bummer that Fredericks did get involved with the incident on lap 56. I think if it weren't for that, we'd see him in the top 4, top 5 drivers right now. But he did. He's currently... he started off in 11th place after the incident, and he's currently in 8th place, so I would say that's some pretty good movement for him. And happy to watch him slowly try to crawl back from the end to the lead. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Looks like Booker has retired, and Mattingly is still in the pits. Hopefully we'll see Mattingly come back out. And it also looks like Johnson has retired from the race as well. I did not notice that earlier, but I do see that now. So Mattingly might have some repairs. He may have taken his quick repair already. So he'll be in the pits for a little bit. We got 42 laps to go. We're on lap 107. Richardson has a nice gap. Looks like it's gotten bigger. Maybe Chinsky had to let off a little bit there around turns 1 and 2. As we are on board with Miller as he is going around the lap car of Fluck. Looks like he's going to take the outside line, and Fluck is going to let him take the outside line. And we are on board with McKinney as he's trying to go around Zito. Now this might be some good competition for a race that's pretty well spread out. And looks like McKinney was able to take the inside line and go around Zito. And let's see if Zito tries to take it back in the backstretch and turns 3 and 4. And we see him take it back. Let's see if he's able to stick it. And it doesn't look like he is. As we see Richardson going around the lap traffic of McKinney of Zito and McKinney. Goes around Zito, no problem. And we'll see if he goes around McKinney as well. Looks like McKinney's got a little more breathing room, so he's going to try to run away. We'll see how well he's able to do so. And looks like Chinsky will be lapping Zito next, as he's slowly getting closer and closer, and goes around. Chinsky goes around Zito. Franklin is a couple seconds behind, so we will probably not see that for a little bit. And we'll keep our eye out for Richardson, and if he's able to go around McKinney. Richardson takes the inside line. Ooh, as it looks like McKinney kind of had some jerky movements with his car, trying to keep it under control, and lets Richardson overlap him. So currently, the standings right now, Richardson is in the lead. The almost 1.5 second gap in front of Chinsky, who is 3 seconds ahead of Franklin, who is about in front of Miller. What happened to Miller? Let's see. He must just missed the barriers right there. That was close. Looks like Miller is going into the pits. Not sure what happened there. We'll Let's see if we can find a replay real quickly of Miller's incident, potentially. And we're back with Miller, and it looks like he may have tapped the wall. Oh, that's not Miller. He will like... sorry about that. We're going to go back to the replay here. I can't quite find it, so we're going to go back to the race once I get back onto the current lap. And I guess I went pretty far back. I didn't realize that. So it's going to take a little bit. Oh, what the heck? There we go. Now we're back to the lead lap, or to the live view. We're on board with McKinney currently. And looks like after the incident that Miller had, he is in 8th place with 5 laps down. And looks like Fredericks is in the pits for fuel and tire, I believe. I'm not too sure. Didn't really see him jump around in the standings too much. So we see Mark Ouellette, who we had our pre-race interview with, also go into the pits there. Laps 123, and looks like Chinsky is in the pits as well. Lap 123. Richardson has not gone into the pits, and Franklin has taken 2nd place. And oh, I think we might see Richardson going into the pits. Yes, we will see Richardson also going into the pits on lap 124. And Franklin's also in the pits. Lap 124 as well, I believe. I think Franklin's still a lap down. I'm not quite sure. Big opportunity for McKinney and Chinsky to try to take the lead away from Richardson, who's had a great race so far. And it looks like Richardson is in the pits right now with Franklin. And they're closing in quick on Richardson's position. As Richardson leaves the pits, Franklin also leaves the pits. Let's see if McKinney is able to keep first. And McKinney takes the lead. Chinsky will not take 2nd place away from Richardson, but is right on his tail. And it looks like Chinsky has taken the lead, or taken 2nd place away from Richardson. Richardson has to warm up his tires before he can go aggressively against them. Only a 1-second gap between McKinney and Chinsky. With the lap traffic of Fredericks there. So to keep an eye out for, as we are keeping an eye out on Richardson. Oh, what's going on? McKinney... I wonder if McKinney ran into the wall or something. Ooh, as we see it get close between Richardson and Miller. And Chinsky taking the inside line. And they're not able to get around Richardson. McKinney's in the pits, lap 127, 128-ish. I believe McKinney will be down a lap when he gets back out onto a race course. He may be in competition for 4th place between the lap car of Zito, who's 2 laps down, unless McKinney is able to get out in time and try to get in front of Richardson. And then he will only be a lap down. But no, it looks like Richardson lapped him, and it'll be a good race between McKinney and Zito. Lots of lap traffic tonight in this race. We've got 8 laps down. Mattingly, who's had a couple incidents. Fluck It's 4 laps down with Fredericks, who Fredericks had one big incident. Fluck had a slight incident. Fredericks was and Booker were the two drivers that have that made the caution flag come out on lap 56. Fredericks is 4 laps down. Fluck is 4 laps down after a spin out. Roulette, I'm not sure. I don't think he had an incident. So is Miller. I think Richardson, Chinsky, Franklin, and Fredericks had very great driving lines and great pacing, which caused them to be 3 laps down. Same as Zito and McKinney. The top 3 drivers just had a great race so far. Just based off of driving line and using the throttle. 14 laps to go. We are on lap 135 of 148. Again, thank you very much for joining us tonight on Stadium Scene TV for FR Racing's Indy Racing World Series. It's fun to be able to host this race and to be able to broadcast it to you all. We have 13 laps to go. It looks like Richardson has his lead again of 0.7 seconds, and Chinsky has a pretty comfortable lead of 12 seconds. They do not have to fuel save since they did go into the pits at laps 123 and 124. Chinsky on lap 123 and Richardson on lap 124. So Richardson has a lap fresher tires. Fresher tires by a single lap. That sounds a lot better compared to whatever the jumble of words I said earlier. So we will we'll keep an eye out to see what if that affects Chinsky or not, as Richardson has 1 second lead now in front of Chinsky. I don't think they will be mixing their fuel richness. I think they'll keep it at a full mix of 100%. Especially with how comfortable they are with their fuel amounts. I can't imagine they took less fuel in running rich, just to have a lighter car. I think they'll take enough fuel to last them the rest of the race and maybe a little extra. As we got 6 laps to go, we are on lap 143. Oh, and we're seeing Chinsky kind of speed it up a little bit there. With 6 laps to go, 0.6 of a second, and slowly gaining. Went from 1 second to 0.6 of a second. These final 3 races, tonight's race, the next race, and then our finale race will determine our championship winner, our season winner. So it'll be something to keep an eye out for. I think we may be seeing Chinsky running a lot more aggressively these final few laps. 4 more laps to go. We're on lap 145 of 148. We'll see if how well Richardson defends his position here. As we're going to primarily focus on the lead 2 drivers for the remainder of the race, unless something else pops up. As Chinsky's trying to take the inside line, not quite enough room. We see Zito and the number 9 car going into the pits. Might give Roulette, there he goes. We got Roulette taking 5th place and Miller taking 6th place. Maybe we'll see Fredericks take 7th place if Zito doesn't come out of the pits fast enough. And it is white flag, final lap. Let's see, this is it for all the marbles for Chinsky. And we're going to see the checkered flag as they come across, and it looks like Richardson takes the win. So far, top three are Richardson, Chinsky, Franklin. And then we have McKinney, Roulette, Miller, Fredericks, Zito? Yep, Zito, Fluck in 9th place. Actually, once I get the leaderboard back up, I will we'll go into we'll do the race order. There you go. We got the leaderboard back up as Richardson is doing his donuts right there. So Richardson is our race winner with Chinsky in 2nd place, Franklin in 3rd, McKinney in 4th, Roulette in 5th, Miller in 6th, Fredericks in 7th. Just a reminder that Fredericks was our substitute driver for Joe Hutchings, who had technical difficulty with his setup tonight, unfortunately. 8th place is Zito, 9th place is Fluck, 10th place is Mattingly, 11th place is Booker, and 12th place is Johnston. So let's see if we can pull the top 3 drivers in. Who we have? I don't see Franklin on. We do have Richardson, and I don't see Chinsky either. Oh, there he is. Speaking of him. How's it going, Joshua? Welcome to the broadcast booth. Good race tonight. If you're talking, we can't quite hear you. You might have your microphone on mute.
I can hear you now. I couldn't hear you earlier.
Oh, awesome. Cool. We can hear you now too, so.
Perfect.
Nice job tonight. Pretty close race throughout the whole night, I felt. How did it feel?
It felt okay. This was it's been a while since I've raced around Iowa, and car felt really loose off the start. Had to save it a couple times and drop back a little further than I would have liked for the first stint. Rallied back. Just a lot of mistakes on my end. A lot of little wall taps that lost me 3/10 there, 4/10 there. So made it really hard to catch Eric, which we had a great battle going. Kudos to him for the win. Yeah, just really excited for the next 2 ovals if this is the kind of battling we're gonna have for the end the season.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. It'll be fun to keep an eye out for the next 2 races after tonight's race. Anyone you'd like to thank for the race tonight?
Same as always. Appreciate the guys over at HSR for all of their support, our practices. Appreciate my guys over at SRT for watching, tuning into the races, and yeah, we'll see if we can't fight for this championship till the end.
Sounds good. Sounds exciting. Well, good job tonight, and have a great rest of your night, and see you next week.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks. Hey, Wyatt, how are you doing? Nice job tonight in tonight's race. How did it feel?
I mean, it was feeling really great until I went to pit that last time and I missed the pit entry. But other than that,
Oh no.
being able to hold on to the podium was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
rookie
Yeah.
season, getting a podium, that's pretty huge. So,
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, congratulations on. Is this your first podium?
yep.
Oh, congratulations on that. How?
Yeah, I've gotten close a couple times, but it's slipped through my fingers. So, I've messed up on pit entry a couple times and knocked myself out. So it's good to actually put all the pieces together.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations. What went well for you in tonight's race with like what was your strategy coming in, and how well did it go?
I mean, just trying to stay with Eric and Josh the entire time, being able to use a lower fuel mix, and just kind of staying with them, following their line. It was really easy to stay in that groove, and I've never raced at this track before, so I like it. I can't wait to come back here. So.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, good job. I mean, especially for your first time racing at Iowa, and being able to take a podium. That's awesome. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But anyone you'd like to thank for tonight's race?
Obviously HSR, all the sponsors there, Drinking Bros, Effective CPR. There's a great group of guys over there, and they've really helped me learn a lot about league racing and especially these Indy cars. Joe has been integral to my performance. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, congratulations on your first podium finish, and great job tonight.
Thank,
And we'll see you next week.
yep.
Sweet.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, have a good night. And that was Wyatt Franklin, who finished third place in tonight's race. And now we got Eric Richardson, who finished with the win. Hey, Eric. Welcome to the broadcast.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing? Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Still trying to catch my breath there. Those last 15, 20 laps were a little nerve-wracking.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Saw Josh Rachinski just slowly catching up to you in the final 5 laps. Went from about like a second gap to less than like a quarter of a second, it looked like.
Yeah, I was just trying to watch that gap and just try not to make any silly mistakes by mere watching and just trying to be aware of where it was.
Yeah. What was your race strategy tonight, and what went well, and how did it feel overall?
Overall, felt pretty good. I knew I wanted to at least try to stay up front and just try and tire save. This track, if you push too hard, will eat your tires up real fast.
Ah, okay. And it looked like you were avoiding like I call it the speed bumps on the high line of turn 1, but it looked like you were avoiding that pretty nicely for most of the race. Does that affect you pretty much at all?
I did some practice going over it just in case I needed to, and I did a couple times tonight, but just being smart with it's not too bad.
Okay, cool. Sweet. Well, congratulations on your I guess your reigning win since you won last season here, and this is I don't did we race your season 1?
I think we did, but I don't recall the winner.
Okay. Well, we'll just say that this is your repeat win here. So congratulations on that, on winning here again.
Thank you.
And anyone you'd like to thank for tonight's race?
Just everybody helping put all this together, and most importantly, everybody who's coming out and racing with us. There's so many options, but they chose to come here, which is amazing, and just a fun group to go out every Tuesday night with.
That is true, especially with all this good racing that we've been having this whole season. So congratulations on your win, and have a great night, and I'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And that was Eric Richardson, our race winner for tonight's race. Before we go, I would like to pull up the standings and see. We don't have the updated standings yet, but we'll be interested to see if we see some shakeups. As we see Josh Rachinski, who's in number 1 right now after 7 races, in the lead, and see if Eric Richardson, after this race, taking the lead away from him or not. Miller, who's in 3rd, got 6th place, and Booker, who's in 4th, got 11th place. Oh, a name to keep a look for Franklin. Wyatt Franklin, he is in 6th, but since he did finish in 3rd, maybe we'll see him jump up to 4th, or 5th, 4th, or maybe even 3rd place, because that is a pretty big jump between Franklin in 3rd and Miller in 6th. But you'll find out either if you follow us on Instagram, because we will be posting. I think we'll be posting the season 3 standings on there. If not, you'll find it here next week. Right here on the broadcast before the race starts. And before we go tonight, another thing, please tune in on tomorrow night's race, FR Racing's Garage Talk 100 for the Wednesday night dash. It'll start, the green flag drops at 10:17 p.m. Eastern Time. It is an hour of fun, and it is at the Super Speedway. So keep an eye out for that, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. We will be implementing it's called the Super Speedway rule. So if over half the field crashes out, we will be waving the caution flag a little early. and we may be waiving it multiple times, potentially, depending on whether or not we have an incident that takes out over half the field or not, which obviously we're hoping that does not happen. But if it does, it'll regroup the cars like we see here at the circuits with our cautions, and it'll be fun to keep an eye out for. Again, thank you very much for joining me tonight in tonight's race. I hope you all had a great time, and hope to see you all next week right here on Stadium Scene TV. Thank you very much, and have a great night.